Welcome to the generic foiling Shark Tank Dragon's Den edition, where we ask really tough questions.
What you got for me?
Is your name?
Chris.
Yay! Sorry, you join us halfway through. We're getting stuck into the tech.
Nice.
Batteries, modular.
This is part of the delay, this battery.
Yeah.
Huge amount of tech. So, full BMS, every cell monitored, any cell that's out of spec whatsoever shuts down the battery. Any moisture that's detected in this battery shuts down the battery. We have a material between all the cells called phase change material. Do you know what that is?
I don't.
I've had it explained to me and I still don't understand it, but basically it's this material that if it gets hot, it does the reverse thing and actually cools the cell down. This is weird material, it's freaky.
Just absorbing energy or something?
Well, sort of, but like they literally showed me, like they got some material out and they put a lighter underneath it and they're like, feel this, and it's like really cold and you're like...
Weird.
It's weird. Anyway, so got that in there. And then the other thing, Bluetooth, shake to see how charged you are. It's got a full IMU in it, so if these are dropped and past a certain G, we will say, hey, bring your battery in to get checked. If all the electronics fail and this gets flooded forever, we've got a sight window here that will turn red to say your battery's been compromised, which is that end. And then basically for the jet cartridge, you can run two, so you just clip them together. Now what we had to do is you can't actually connect two lithium batteries together parallel like that. So if this one was 50% charged and this was 100% charged, this would try and dump all its current into this.
Yeah.
Not a good situation to be in.
Yeah.
So these don't actually connect. So as we connect all these up to 4, it just reroutes the pins. And when you put it into the cartridge, inside there we've got a board in there that basically looks at all the batteries and goes, no, they're not the same. You've got one that's 100%, you've got one that's 80%. When you go out, I'm going to use the 100% one first, and once it gets down to a close state of charge, it'll start using the 80%, but only a little bit, and mostly the 100%, and then as it gets equal, then it will pull down from both.
Does that affect your thrust output then with different batteries?
Yeah. So 80 and 100%, you're going to lose maybe 20% thrust. 50% and 100%, you're going to lose almost all of your thrust until that comes down to about 70%.
Would it be enough to get on foil with a chip in?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've used this with one battery.
Yeah,
so you can just put one battery in. You do get half the thrust. Now, once you've used 2 batteries, you don't ever go back to one battery.
Yeah.
But I've experimented with people and you just stick in one battery and you give it to them and they go out and they use it and they go, oh, that was really good. You know, like, so it really helped me paddling onto the wave. And then you give them 2 batteries and they come back and they're like, holy crap. Like, so half the thrust does make a big difference. Does it help you get onto the wave? A little bit. Are you going to paddle onto the fattest non-braking wave ever? No, unless you're 50 kilos. And the weight penalty from losing 1 kilo, you just run the extra battery. With the mass version, because we'll have a cartridge like this, but without all the electronics and jet in it, you'll be able to stack 4 batteries in. Now the mass version will attain pretty much full thrust with 2 batteries, just less runtime, and so you can run 2 batteries, 3 batteries or 4 batteries, depending on how long the session you want. And then we're also building batteries, because each one's got a BMS, connectors, all that. It's not the most weight efficient way, even though we've worked so hard at making these batteries as light as possible, while still maintaining all the safety regulations, drop tests, waterproofing and all that.
So you're going to make like a full cartridge?
We're going to make just a full battery that you just slide in. So capacity versus weight is going to be much better than the 4 batteries, but you can't travel with it.
If you have a cell and you fully charge it, don't go for a session, there's advice about not leaving LiPos fully charged. Will it self-discharge after a certain amount of time?
It does slowly, but pretty slowly. People that freak out about that, I'm like, if it's a week, don't stress about it. If it's 4 months, you're better to keep them at 40 to 60%. You can actually just stick them in the cartridge and just sit it there.
Yeah, right.
And the cartridge, because it's on, as soon as you stick them in, will pull close to, in 24 hours, I think close to about 8-10%.
Okay,
so a couple of days, you just keep coming back and checking it and go, yep, I'm at, X% now. Now that's my, rather than having to run the thing.
But presumably...
you can sit in the bath if you want, really. It's like a spa bath.
You got a free jacuzzi.
Yeah, free jacuzzi.
If you took that the opposite way and you left them in the unit, the BMS will just have a low voltage cut off and you won't kill the battery.
Yeah. No, the BMS is like, it's a custom BMS that we built, or through a vendor, but we designed, and it will literally, like anything, slide over temp on any cell, cuts the output, under voltage, like every single thing you can think of. It completely and utterly manages the battery. A short, like you can just short the thing if you want. It's just going to go, it's a short, I'm shutting down.
Yeah. Does that need to be a carbon tube?
You're going to ask that. If it wasn't, it wouldn't look this cool. We experimented. The engineers wanted to actually do alloy. I don't do alloy. I've had a few fuses stuck in my time. Alloy was also heavier, even a thin-walled alloy.
Yeah.
And from what we've experimented with, we did a few plastic options, but we just couldn't get the stiffness out of it. So carbon ended up being, it was hard to get it right, but carbon ended up being our choice.
So how did you solve, where are the electronics? Where's the ESC?
So ESC, we've got another board in there which is the brains of the system that controls the ESC and monitors a whole lot of different things and logs everything. And then we've also got what we call the battery combiner that does all the battery management. Not the battery management, but it looks at the batteries and goes, you know, this is happening, that is happening, I'll connect them together, I won't connect them together. Plus motor, bearing tube, seals and everything, all from about there to there. And it's like there is no space left.
So
it's all custom.
Is there any heat sink
Yes.
within there?
Yep.
So that's
our
is
heat
that the
sink.
differentiation? So you got plastic, metal.
Yep. So that's our one heat sink, which is alloy, and that goes through to the bearing tube, which the ESC is mounted on with the FETs.
Yeah.
Which then is connected to the motor. Now, we...
Is that just machined?
Yep.
Yeah.
So what we
So
did
you
is...
do like alloy, for getting rid of heat.
You're getting rid of heat. Well, it's in a place where it's not going to, like the anodizing and that sort of stuff, like it's not getting taken on and off. Here, like you put it in and out of the board, the alloy's eventually going to get scratched. We even tested alloy because the engineers were really pushing for it, and I'm like, I can save 400 grams by ditching alloy.
Yeah.
But what we did with this is rather than having too much alloy, we weighed up how hot the system gets to how often you boost. And then on the launch pad, you'll see here, see the green circle that goes right around the edge?
Yeah.
Like we haven't gone out yet, but when you start using it, this is like a reverse temp gauge. It'll just start coming down here. Now if you boost, fall off, boost, fall off, boost, fall off, boost, fall off, boost, fall off.
Oh, that's telling you the internal temperature of the electronics.
It'll come around here and then it'll get to orange. When it gets to orange, so these last two, no, it's just warning you you've probably got 2 boosts left.
Okay.
And then if you use those 2 boosts straight away, it'll get to blue and say jet cooling, and you've still got paddle assist, but you've got no boost. And then depending on your water temp, it's kind of like anywhere between 15 seconds and a minute to cool down till it goes to orange again, and you'll get a boost back.
Okay.
But we looked at all the logs and all our sessions and took the average of how often we were boosting and how much rest time there was. And you find beginners, they certainly, I've seen them get it all the way into jet cooling. When I'm in a beach break that's really heavy and I'm using the boost to get under waves, I might get into orange, but it's like you're pretty much going pretty hard back to back. If you're just generally boosting, catching a wave for a minute, coming back out, you never even get into the orange. So it was a balance of, we could have added an extra 400 or 500 grams of this and made it so you could just do back-to-back boost till the battery was flat. But that's not, you know, we'd rather save the 400 grams, you know, because that's not the idea of the system. You just don't do back-to-back boosts.
But again, I suppose that's the nice thing about you having made it this slip in and out cartridge. It doesn't mean that you can't iterate and tweak tiny little bits as you go. Do you know what I mean? Like you come up with a new thermal management system and you're like, well, we're not even going to tell anybody, but we've actually improved that.
Look, we've already got ways, you know, for future cartridges of like, we've made this as robust as we can. Like, this is like a double O-ring piston seal. This is a O-ring piston seal.
So how are you? What's the connection waterproofing system
so
to connect?
We've got a double O-ring. We've got a double O-ring in here. We've got a humidity sensor in here. We've got an O-ring here, and then we've got a triple seal here. Okay. So you've got to compromise this triple seal, that single seal to get into there, and you've got to compromise that double O-ring seal. Now, when we've run for 12 months and we've got the humidity sensor and we look at all the logs and go, has anyone leaked a cartridge?
Yeah.
And we go, no, because we've had this for 18 months and been testing it and flogging it and never washing it. I recommend washing it, but just trying to break the thing. And we haven't had a leak yet. So
what's lubricating the O-rings on these sides?
What's lubricating it?
Yeah.
So it's installed with a Molykote 254. So they're a silicone O-ring, but that's a grease you can use.
And that can't escape, that can't be pushed away, it doesn't need servicing?
No, not at all, no. We do have a lip seal in there sealing the shaft, obviously. That does need servicing. But so far, like we've got one cartridge that we give to everybody and we try and get it out at least 5 days a week.
Yeah.
That's been running for 18 months. We did a pull down the other day. The lip seal had been compromised and water had got into the oil chamber, but it still probably would have gone another 6 months because the oil chamber was still full and lubricating everything.
So how does a customer manage that?
So we recommend, it's not compulsory, but we recommend after a year, if you're using it a fair bit, we recommend giving it back to a service centre and getting it serviced. And we'll pull it down, check everything. We can see a lot of things from the logs anyway, but we'll pull it down, replace the front lip seal, change the oil, check everything, put it back together, send it back to you.
When you talk about logs then, obviously at the minute you're all in-house, so you can pull as much data as you want.
Yep.
Presumably there's an app that comes with this. Does
Absolutely.
the customer either give permission or not give permission for you to use their data, or is it one of those where if you're using the app you have to let us monitor the system?
Yeah, so if you sync your rides, right, which will then put up onto the cloud all the GPS data and the ride data and the RPM and how many batches, like that's all the data. So
you can monitor that.
So, and then we've got a back end that we can actually monitor all of that just to go, okay, this engine's running at a higher RPM, they might have damaged the impeller. This system's got some moisture in it, so it's been compromised. We will contact them and say, hey, send it into a service centre.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so that's the other...
Presumably anonymous.
Sorry?
Presumably anonymous, or is it?
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, you sign up with your email, obviously.
Okay.
So, I mean, our back end is highly encrypted. We're not there to share the data. No one can read the data unless they use our software anyway. The software's not a pretty nice software. It's just hardcore data.
So if you tell everyone you're riding really hard, Flite Lab know whether you actually were.
Exactly. Well, we've got a leaderboard. So you can actually... Because of the amount of data we log with both the Launchpad, which has a high-res IMU in it, so we can tell whether you're pumping, whether you're turning, how hard you're turning, how many degrees you're turning at, how many Gs you're pulling.
That's mental.
Like it's
you listen to that, bro.
Sorry, yeah, fair out.
We can compete now.
Yeah.
You will know exactly how banked over you are.
How many waves you've caught, what distance. So at the beginning, the leaderboard's just basically based on wave time, wave speed, and distance. But we're still logging all the data. So when the app becomes more mature, then we go back to all that data and go, you did 5 turns on this wave and you pulled this many Gs and you doubled down 3 times.
Yeah.
So that's future plans for software. And then the other thing, like all our electronics in here are potted as well. So if there is any compromise in leaking, like you can pretty much flood this. And the only thing is you're actually damaging the motor, but over time. But if we, after 12 months, go, do you know what, this seal is so amazing, we haven't had a single compromised cartridge, we'll probably, not pot the, because it all adds up, like there's probably 300 grams of potting in there, so you lose that. We develop the motor ourselves, but we're already developing the next motor, trying to gain an extra 50, 100 grams off it.
So when we were chatting on the podcast, go and listen to the podcast, you've done a lot of jet optimization for this purpose. Is Flite either, I mean, I know you're just releasing this, I'm sure you've got a lot of other things, but let's say 6 months time, you sold out of these, you've got to figure out the future, whatever. Could you sell this unit for other applications to other companies, and will you or do you want to? Like if a jet surfboard wannabe comes along and they go, I want this, is Flite going to go, yeah, that's available or no? Or is it TBC?
TBC.
Okay.
I don't know what you're talking about. We haven't thought about that at all.
All right, yeah, cool. Yeah, well, it makes sense. Development that goes into something as simple as this, you've now got a bolt-on thing. So
it's not exactly the thickest thing in the world.
Yeah,
it has other applications. So,
was shaft vibration ever an issue during testing? What sort of RPM is it running at?
10,000 RPM.
So was shaft vibration an issue? Prop balancing, like jet balancing, was that kind of
not an
easy
issue
to solve? Or?
Super easy. We're part of Mercury owners.
Yeah, okay.
So as far as shaft, like this is a special stainless steel shaft with this, what is it called? DC, completely lost the name of it, coating over the shaft, which Mercury came up with. It's proprietary coating. So, because lip seals will actually eat into a stainless steel shaft over time. And so they obviously do thousands and thousands of RPMs over hundreds and hundreds of hours. And so we're really, really fortunate with this because we run these in test tanks, like 24 hours a day just to actually burn through. So our test tanks have got jets that have, done what's equal to 5 years of riding if you ride 3 days a week, every single day, every single week of the year, which is probably pretty impossible. And then we pull them down and we go, okay, the shaft's actually still in good nick. So to wear a shaft is pretty impossible. Debris, we've thrown debris in it, like there's probably going to be something that gets up the inlets one day that's hard enough that will damage the prop, could damage the shaft. We've thrown leg ropes up to a full boost. And we're really surprised that the thing just, you got to bloody pull the stator out and like untangle it and all that, but it hasn't actually bent an impeller yet or a shaft. There is a bearing, so because of such a long shaft, we've got 2 bearings here, and then we've also got a bearing in the tip because you just can't run a shaft that long. But it's holding up surprisingly well. And then as far as prop optimization and all that goes, we're part of Mercury. So
so there were some problems you could just go,
just skip.
Fix that
it was great. It's just design this, and you go test it, and you're like, that works. And it's like, and then we haven't had to do anything. Plenty of other things where we've just had to iterate.
Let's say I'm out having a boosty session.
Yep.
Freddie's gone kite foiling, dropped kiting.
Yep.
And I drive over his line, and it does pull it in.
He's not going to be happy with you.
He's not. I'm not.
It's probably going to tangle.
Is it a customer doable?
Absolutely. 4 bolts.
Yeah. Okay.
4 bolts will get that off. The stator this holds the stator in, so it's locked in place by some grooves. But then you can pull the stator off, and then you should be able. You can see the impeller clearly because we actually sit the impeller inside the stator.
Yeah.
So instead of having like on a jet ski, you've got a wear ring. So our wear ring is the stator, and so if you damage the stator over time or the impeller, you can easily replace both. The only thing that's holding the impeller in, so the impeller locks onto the shaft into this thing we call a drive dog. Yeah. It's just got these 2 keyways, but we do have a circlip on the end of it. So it's just a matter of circlip pliers, undo that, you can pull the impeller off and you can replace it.
You were chatting in the pod, listen to the pod, about optimization, and it was funny when you brought back nightmares. You talked about like CFD, so computational fluid dynamics, simulating fluids on the computer. Sadly, that was part of my master's project at uni.
There you go.
When you said it will take you this long to like get any useful data, I was a bit like, unless you've already got a wizard with that stuff, absolutely. 100%. And the softwares are so expensive and whatnot. I could understand that, but now looking at this in terms of that plastic section here, it appears to me that it's both aesthetic and optimized. Has FEA analysis gone into the production of these parts and weight saving of like these bits? Because FEA is a lot more straightforward, and that you can bust out.
All our engineers internally do FEA. 100%.
Because this looks awfully.
It is interesting because like after my practical, printing hundreds of impellers and stators and combos and spending hours and hours and hours.
That's the best one, Chris.
And then having twin intakes. We actually, before we were part of Mercury, we hired this company out of Sweden who specialise in jet. And, there was a little bit of a language barrier there. One of our head engineers is actually German. So he's got this really funny sense of humour. He's like, this will be an interesting meeting. And so we met with them, and they were basically looking at this design. They're like, why 2 intakes? And they're like, that'll be so inefficient. And I'm like, well, we're trying to explain what foiling is, and there's a mast in the way, and we're trying to get all the weight back. If I put the intake in front, then the batteries and everything gets too far forward, and then your actual jet tube becomes too long, or your stator becomes too long. If I put the intake behind, there's too much cavitation around the mast, and the water doesn't go in properly. So we did twin intakes on our boards.
Why were they hesitant about having twin intakes?
They'd never seen it, because why would you ever build a jet with twin intakes? There's zero reason.
But why would you not? Like,
because of the way the water comes in and clashes, and from a hydrodynamic point of view.
You've got 2 bits hitting before it hits.
And I designed it, like on the computer, like I've got a graphic background, and I'm like, I'm just going to make it flow and look smooth and cool. Like, that was my design for the intakes, and then the impeller and stator were just trial and error. So anyway, they took my models and my impeller and all that, And they went off for like a month and ran it through all their computers. Team of 6 people, right?
Yeah.
And they come back and they're like, so who designed this? And I said, I did, you know, and then already like the engineers, and they're like, it's actually pretty good. What software did you use? And I'm like, Fusion 360. And they're like, no, what CFD software did you use? And I'm like, well, I didn't. And they're like, interesting. So what's your background? I'm an editor, graphic design. And they start laughing, right? They're laughing so hard, and my top engineer knew what was going on, and they're like, okay, now seriously, who designed this? And I'm like, I did. And they're like, your Reynolds number is amazingly low for what you've designed. Yeah. We've improved it, but you know, you've lost a little bit on the intakes.
Did you get your phone out and go, you want to see the test tank in my garden? Well, I've really got it down.
It gets funnier because like they're like, you know, the Reynolds number's amazing for someone that doesn't know. And I'm like, I just did that many impellers, and maybe I got lucky. And then like Lars, our engineer's just laughing and laughing and laughing. And it's like, that's because his name's Chris Reynolds, right? And then they wouldn't believe that. And then they like 20 minutes of just cracking up. Like, it was a funny, like super geeky, nerdy. So anyway.
Side chat about Reynolds number another time.
Yeah.
Do you know what Reynolds number is?
No.
You have laminar and turbulent flow. You think about a nice weir, and you have a lovely bit of fluid just flowing down and it all looks glassy and everything. It hits the bottom where it goes deep, and you got all these bubbles and it's all swirling around. That would be a very basic description of like laminar to turbulent flow. Reynolds number is a mathematical number that describes the state of that flow. How laminar is it? How turbulent is it? And am I right in thinking with different
don't
fluids?
Ask me, I still don't understand it. I'm a practical man.
I'm happy to be corrected, but I'm pretty sure with different viscosities of fluids, there's a certain number when it's officially classified as that's no longer laminar, that's now turbulent, blah blah blah. So with something like a propeller or a jet, the nicer you can get the fluid coming in, the better of a job.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it has been a massive project, especially getting all the parts to fit, and you know, just getting, you know, like when I told them that's the size I got to work with the engineers, they're like, the thing's going to have to be this long, you know. But we just kept tweaking and jamming. Everything is custom. You open this and there's not a single mills, you know, left basically. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, super stoked with it. Really, really happy. You know, already working on V2, but it's going to be hard to beat this, you know, for a long time. So, you know, V2 is probably a couple of years away, because it's just going to be, unless battery tech improves greatly, that sort of stuff. So,
well, we look forward to continue to taking the mick when product releases get delayed.
Do it.
And we'll call you up, and at least now that we've met you, we'll go, Chris, what's gone wrong? Come on, tell us what's gone wrong.
Everything. No, awesome. No.
Pleasure. Thank you. Look forward to having a go.
Thanks, Freddie.
Look forward to having a go.